Hello YouTube land, this is Chad with Winning Tennis, and today we are going to take a look at the common threads of the serve and volley. We are going to look at some of the greatest serve and volleyers from yesteryear and today and see what they are doing, and hopefully after watching this video you will be able to take away some of these tips and improve your serve and volley game. So without further ado, let's get right into it. First up, I want to take a look at Feliciano Lopez. He is in the near court and he is serving and volleying to Andreas Seppi. Okay, so here he goes into his serve motion and you can see the fundamentals are all correct. We can see he has a pinpoint stance. He has a beautiful racket drop, pronates, and he is a lefty, so he's going to jump onto his right foot. If you are a righty, you will be jumping onto your left foot. Now, because he is serving and volleying, he is allowing his momentum to take him forward. If he is a baseliner, he would now be retreating back behind the baseline. And he takes 3 steps in, and as soon as Seppi begins to make contact with the ball, Lopez is going to split step right there. And we can see one of the things that Feliciano Lopez does that is very technically correct is he gets the racket back very early on the volley. And notice his weight is still going forward. He slowed down, almost stopped, and now he's allowing his weight to continue forward, and this will allow him to come ever closer into the net. And when you serve and volley, one of the things that you should do is try to close out the net, which means if you hit a volley, you want to get closer and closer and closer to the net on each volley until you put the ball away. The next server and volleyer we are going to look at is the formidable Mischa Zverov, who is one of my favorite players to watch. He is one of the last true serve and volleyers in the men's tennis game. And here we can see him going into his serve. And one of the common traits of the serve and volleyer is for their weight to come forward. And he is also a lefty, so he is going to jump onto his right leg. And also, just like Feliciano Lopez, he is going to allow that momentum to bring him forward. Now, I've put out videos on the serve, but basically you do want to jump onto the opposing leg of your dominant arm. So if you are hitting the ball with your right arm, you will be jumping onto your left leg and vice versa. And then once you make contact with the ground, you'll be running forward, taking a few steps, and then you will split step. Let's play that back so we can see the split step. Here he takes a few steps. Now, his opponent is beginning to strike the ball. He will split step where he puts both feet on the ground at the same time. This allows him to move in either direction as quickly as possible. So he determines that he needs to move in a little bit more, and that's fine. After you split step doesn't mean you have to stay in that position. You can continue to move around, and he's moving forward. And notice that he allows his body weight to contact forward into the volley, which makes the volley more formidable. And notice that he also continues to come forward. The first volley was maybe 5-6 feet behind the service line. Now he is a good 4 or 5 feet in front of the service line, which will make it more difficult for his opponent to pass him. He is now cutting off the angles by getting closer to the net. Notice those little hops that he is making. Okay, so what he's doing there is he's trying to anticipate the shot. Instead of just remaining flat-footed, he takes these little hops, because sometimes the opponent might hold their racket to hit the ball. And now here comes a backhand volley, and he puts it away. Notice he gets right back into the ready position. I see so many players not getting back into the ready position, and that is a good ready position, but looks like the point is over, so he no longer has to stay down, and that is the end of that. Okay, here we're going to look at one of my favorite players from the past. Well, 2 of my favorite players from the past, Patrick Rafter and Andre Agassi. And Rafter is going to be serving to Agassi, and he had that huge arch in his back, and he would love to come over with that topspin serve. And you can see that ball kicking up, and Agassi's coming back. He can't get a lot of power into that shot, and we'll play it out. Oh, look at that split step, and look how quick Rafter moves. Notice that when the ball comes close to the ground, he's not staying upright. Look how low he gets to hit that ball. And he puts it away on the other side with the forehand volley. Let's try to watch that again from the beginning. And we can see Rafter being the first righty that we look at. He jumps onto his left foot, and he immediately puts down his right foot and starts sprinting forward, and there's the split step. And it can happen very quickly. Here we are. Right there. It's the split step, and notice one thing I see also when club players do, they drop their racket heads a lot. Notice his racket head remains in that 45-degree position. So crucial to hitting a great volley. All right, now we are going to look at a fantastic player. He was one of the best serve and volleyers when he was in the game. He retired a few years ago. His name is Michael Lodra, and he is also a lefty. And he achieved a high rank of 11 in singles and 3 in doubles. Now here he just finishes his serve, and because he is a lefty, he lands on his right foot. And he's coming forward. Now notice that he has the time to run, covers a great distance. So he jumps in on the right foot. Did you see the small steps that he took? Some of people that I watch are under the impression that you have to take large steps, but you can take small steps as well to make those micro adjustments. Now, these guys are super advanced, so one of the things that he does here is he's just moving through his volley and very quickly. Notice he never really stops. He never really stays stable. He keeps moving. And once you get to the higher levels and you have good technical ability with the volley, then you can do that. But for players that are beginner or intermediate, I would recommend slowing down and maybe even going to a full stop on the volley. Okay, now the point is over. Just took one volley. All right, and now we are back looking at Andre Agassi here in the near court, and there was Pete Sampras up above. They were some of my favorite players back in the 90s era, and I had to throw them in, especially Pete Sampras, as he is one of the greatest serve and volleyers the game has ever seen. And he had one of the best serve motions. Deep knee bend. Look at that. His almost entire back is facing the court. They could do a whole serve lesson on the Sampras serve. So he had great torque. Now, he hits a sort of a topspin serve, and that's coming out very wide to Agassi, who's just able to get his racket on it. Now we can see Pete Sampras moving in and putting it away. And there are different situations in the serve and volley. And Pete knew that he had a weak return, so he did not really need to use that split step, and he kept running forward. Okay, here is the great Roger Federer. I could not leave him off because he is one of the greatest serve and volleyers in the men's game as well. And here he is with his patented jump onto his left foot. And right there, he is also running through his volley. And he gets a forehand and he angles it off. He had the racket at such an angle that he was able to put it over here. So there's different ways you can play with the racket to get the right angle on it. Excuse me, not to get a right angle like a 90 degree, but the correct angle so that you could put it away from your opponent. Let's take a look at this one more time. Deep in the box, Djokovic returns mid-court, and you will get a lot of mid-court returns if you are serving deep into the box, into the corners especially. And all Djokovic could do is just clap. I hope this video proves to be valuable to you in your tennis life. Take some of these tips and use them on the court next time you go out. Try the serve and volley, and maybe you'll win some easy points. Again, this is Chad with Winning Tennis, and I would appreciate if you subscribe and like this video, and I will see you guys in the next one. Thank you.